Welcome to the Wild Medicine Podcast. My name is Tarani, the owner of earthly.com, a sacred path to inner healing, self-discovery, and creativity. I am an energy healer and professional artist ready to reweave ceremony and heart-centeredness into humanity. Wild Medicine is a podcast to hold sacred space to learn the ancient ways of wellness. We talk about anything from spiritual alchemy to astrology and even trauma transmutation. It is my mission to educate you on the wild medicines of our world and to show you the way to unleash your personal power. This podcast is full of episodes with both just me and plenty of our powerful guests. Each episode we will bring to you the medicines of story, knowledge, and transformation. Now is our divine time to step into this sacred space and to take in all the powerful knowledge that I have for you today. Sit back, relax, and always tune in. Take what you need and leave whatever does not serve you. It is my honor to bring this message forth for you. Please enjoy. Blessings. Welcome to another episode of the Wild Medicine Podcast. Tarani here. So excited to bring you guys this episode today as I got to sit down and interview a beautiful and very powerful woman that really brought up a lot of revolutionary thoughts for myself in my own healing journey. So I'm excited to share this episode with you guys and see what it stirs up in your world. Before we dive into that, I just wanted to say hello. I hope you all are doing well out there in the world. I hope that you are healthy. I hope that you are abundant in ways that go beyond money. Also in your resources, your happiness, the sunlight you feel, the medicine that you receive from the world around us. This is a very sensitive time to be alive, and I just want to extend my hand virtually to you guys and let you know that I am here. I love you. I see you. There's some crazy stuff going on in our paradigm right now. The tables are turning. A lot is being shaken up. And it's intense, especially if you're a sensitive person. So be patient with yourself. Know that everything's working out best case scenario. And I'm here for you. So if you need a chat, hit me up. And I'm here for you guys. So I wanted to share that and extend that little piece of love out there for you all. Let's see, do I have any updates? So during this time, as I've been at home, I have began to share my weekly classes that I usually host here in Houston, where I'm currently living. I'm now hosting them remotely online, and one of these classes is my new Temple of Her, which is a series of classes that I am hosting remotely on Zoom that includes breathwork, yogic movement, guided self-healing, and a guided visual meditation. So it's a very powerful practice to tap into your body, tap into your prana, your life force, and deeply heal your inner world, your subconscious, your mind, body, and spirit to align with a higher vibration that evokes an inner knowing in your body and your mind of understanding that you are a temple that is to be worshipped. You are a goddess, you are powerful, you are healthy, you are healing, you are abundant, you are all the things that you are. It helps us to remember and come back into this space. So through this guided journey, we have different themes each week. This week, we are activating our light bodies. And so on Thursday, we're working with the rainbow body and accessing all colors of the rainbow in our aura through this practice. So yeah, it's pretty cool. If you want to check it out more, you can go to my website, and under the Gatherings tab, you can see the Temple of Her workshop, and we do it twice a week. 7 p.m. Central Time on Thursday for our evening ritual, and then our morning ritual is on Sunday mornings, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. So pretty magical. It's been amazing so far. Lots of revelations, lots of breakthroughs. It's a safe space to do your work in a way that's guided and isn't just like a yoga class. Like, we're actually doing deep breath work and teaching you how to channel life force energy from source into your body to deliver you healing, how to go into those old narratives and release that, doing timeline healing, doing all these different aspects. So it's really awesome. And as we are in this kind of situation, a way that I'm trying to give back and keep sharing the abundance is that when you buy a ticket, I'm also having set up a system where you gift a ticket to a sister in need. So when you buy a ticket, I take a ticket and I give it to somebody for free who needs it. So it's pretty awesome. It's been creating a lot of really powerful energy throughout this class, and I am so thankful for this opportunity. So that's something exciting that's coming up. I'm building my online intuitive healing course for you guys. And taking a lot of time to relax and read and learn. I'm taking some online courses for myself. And yeah, so this is just a powerful time. I'm excited to see what is happening in 6 months from now, based off all the information I'm taking in and building. So things are all good in the hood, and I hope that they are for you. Without further ado, we can go ahead and get into this episode. So this week's episode is with Libby, who is a galactic business coach and a shamanic energy healer who focuses her work on helping people to tap into their potential and creating their dream lives. She assists her clients to step into their soul missions and to magnetize and manifest their soul's purpose. She has raised thousands of dollars for various charities in both New Zealand, where she is from, and Bali, where she lives now. So dreamy. She is on a mission to help shift humanity into the fifth dimension and communicate with higher dimensional beings while being a trained shaman, and has a science degree in psychology. You can connect with her through her Instagram, which is Libby Light Leader. And yeah, so this episode is going to be really awesome. We're going to dive into some really powerful things around finding your purpose and understanding how your inner healing and your spiritual practices and showing up for yourself every single day not only creates your abundance and like how you're feeling this life and your perspective on this life, but also the opportunities that flow into your life, and really saying that you're ready to the universe and thanking it for what it's bringing into your life. So we go through some awesome topics. This is a great episode for entrepreneurs, but also anybody who really is just wanting to find their purpose. And I'll be the first to say it, purpose doesn't always equal career or job. And I think that that's something that we need to all work on. And something I'm working on personally within my own life. I think our generation, we do have like this spirit that we are figuring out what our purpose is, or we figure out what really sets us on fire and what brings us love. And of course, we want to make money off of it, because that means that we can exchange our time that we've been working for another job into doing what we love. So it's all good. I mean, that's what I do, and it's all about balance. But I just want to say that your purpose doesn't always have to do with money. So just in case you needed that reminder, there you go. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and go into the episode, and I will see you guys on the other side. Much love. Hi, Libby. Welcome on to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Tarani. It's so awesome to be here.
Awesome. Beautiful. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to begin with just taking a moment to come into ourselves and become present in our body, connect with our spirit, the world around us. Take some deep breaths. And just begin to open our consciousness to all the medicine that's going to be delivered today through this conversation, the beautiful insights. And may we all consciously open an invitation to the universe to deliver whatever we need to hear right now. Allow this episode to channel through whatever we need to hear right now for our lives, for our passions, our purpose, our connection to one another, our connections to ourselves. And allow the medicine to grow wildly. Taking another big, deep breath into the heart. And exhaling, allowing relief. Thank you. So sweet. Well, Libby, would you please introduce yourself and just share, a little bit about yourself and your medicine right now?
Thank you so much for that. It was so blissful, Taryn. And it's just like, I'll share a little bit about me, but just like that, what I'm so grateful for right now is for everyone tuning in and listening, and also that we are living in a world right now where it is normal now in our world to be connecting to spirit, to be connecting with our souls before doing something like this. So I just really want to honor that, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this was not a normal practice. And yes, I'm just celebrating that so much.
That is so true.
It's like every time that we do a podcast or anything, and any transmission is really just honoring the sacredness of every single conversation. And a lot of what I do, and I guess like putting it into human words in my work and medicine in the world, is I call it galactic business coaching and shamanic energy healing in a nutshell. And what that looks like is really helping people to tap into their multidimensional self and their soul purpose in the planet at this specific time, so that they're able to live in a place of abundance, of what I call self-wealth, which is the alignment of mind, body, soul, money. And from that point, how to make a macro impact in the world, like really how to utilize their natural gifts and natural abilities and everything that they've been magnificently blessed with, how to turn that using money, using networks, using all these human things that are available to us to really make a magnificent difference in the world. And I bring in a lot of, like, I call it like shamanic galactic energy healing. It's very angelic, like galactic beings that I channel, but also working very deeply with the earth so that we can come into right relationship with ourselves, with who, like the rest of humanity, and with the planet. That's the nutshell version. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. Wow. I'm so ready to dive in just off of that introduction of yourself. And I guess that brings me to say, with the theme of wild medicine and how, galactic healing and other dimensional healing and working with earth medicine, all of that, what does that look like for you? How does that wild medicine weave into your life and weave into not just your life, but the life that you touch and the life that you get to nurture through your work?
Such powerful energy, and trying to put it into words is a whole other level of thing. So one of the biggest things that I really work with people on, whether it's in a group energy or one-on-one or online trainings or anything, is really getting to the root of who someone is. So, for example, right before we hopped on this, this conversation right now, I was leading some of my mastermind clients through a tantric energy releasing process. And what that looks like is really connecting to the wisdom of our womb, really connecting to the wisdom of our body and our sacral, activating a lot of like kundalini energy within us, the life force energy, to get to the root and underneath all the stuff that we're carrying as humans, whether it's ancestral, whether it's societal, whether it's inner child. And that's like a body perspective. with the shamanic work that I do is, again, really, whether you call it inner child healing or soul retrieval, but really almost calling back all the parts of us that have been left in situations or lifetimes that we've disconnected with because of a lack of acceptance or a lack of love, or, feelings of not enoughness or unworthiness. And so by calling all of these parts of us back and really shifting our internal belief system and the contracts or agreements that we have with how to live and how to be human and how to show up in the world on a soul level and on a human level, is allowing us to be the fullest expression of ourselves, really whole and complete beings, completely sovereign in our knowing and connecting with our own Google of information, from the universe directly channeled straight to us, rather than this confusion energy that's ruling the planet right now of like, who do I trust? Who do I look to? Where are my answers? And that was my journey for a very long time. I was looking to sex, to alcohol, to drugs, to online shopping, to all these things so externally fed, as if that was where my answers were going to be. And that's, societally, that's what we're taught to believe. And by reconnecting through my own journey of, learning how to live a sober lifestyle through a whole range of events that led me to that, and going, well, what is the point of life? What is the meaning of life? What is my purpose here? What does life look like without these things that I've been so reliant on to feel human? Alcohol, drugs, relationships, and through that journey, which really fully began in 2016, but I was opened up to it in about 2011. That's again like nutshell versions of this medicine that is like available to us so easily as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's powerful. So a lot of like what you were saying, really what kept coming up for me was the question of how can we catch ourselves when we are in this situation where we're questioning, kind of lost in a lot of confusion and misdirection? How can we come back to our inner compass and find our direction from within? What are some things that you have seen work so that people can really catch themselves and come into their own clarity?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The biggest thing, first and foremost, is the awareness of where we're not, I guess, happy is the first initial, oh, hang on, I'm not happy. That's the first oh, all right. Mm-hmm. And the biggest things that we're able to do is, and I've got to dig into this. When I first started this journey, I could not sit in an entire yoga class. It was so difficult for me to be present with myself. And depending on where people are at in their journey, if you're just waking up, like many people right now are, it's like spending time with yourself really is the best way that you're able to come back into your heart and really connecting with, who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want? And from that place of awareness of there's more to life than I've been believing up until this moment, and then choosing, well, who do I want to be? Who am I? What do I want for my life? And whether it's to begin with, listening to podcasts, listening to, other people who have been through similar journeys. But to be honest, the biggest things that we can be doing really are learning how to meditate, learning how to connect with our heart, learning, whether it's through journaling, through yoga, through listening, through watching, through nature, letting nature teach us so much. And that for me, when I could not stand being by myself and I was crying myself to sleep because it was so uncomfortable in my mind when I was couldn't have a few wines to get myself to sleep. I committed to a sober life. And in those moments, really getting out into nature to see the reflection of, oh, there's a tree growing and I'm here on the ground. That means I'm part of nature. And then almost using our mirrors in our life with whatever it is. For me, nature was the most helpful, to really come back to, who am I? Where's my sense of belonging coming from? Mm-hmm. What does life mean to me? What do I want it to mean to me? How do I want to feel? what's important to me? And all of these questions that we ask ourselves might take weeks, months, or even years to answer. And that's okay. That's the human journey. That's why we're here. It's like releasing the rush to have it all figured out right now, and learning how to be here right now in this very moment with your very self, your beautiful, magnificent self. So that's, I feel like there's so much in this that I really want to share, but hopefully that gives you a just an insight into a whole range of things.
Because definitely disharmony is it can lodge in and block many different aspects of ourselves and our lives, and that can show up for people in different ways. For you, of course, that's alcohol or all these different range of things, and for people that can be food, or that can be toxic people being around, that gossiping. It can be a wide range of things. And I think what it comes down to is, like you said, just recognizing that there's a disharmony, and it's like, am I really happy? And when we come into that space where, we've all been there in life, where we've reached a situation or a point where we recognize, I'm not happy, something's not right. And it takes stepping up and becoming devoted to your happiness to make those changes. And I think, and I think that, especially meditation and shamanic healing, energy healing, all these different things that are ways for us to not just go within, but also go without and connect to all, but finding that journey through connecting to self and going within and being like, okay, where is the disharmony? Where is the blockage? Where is the pain? Where is the suffering? How can I liberate myself to get into a space where I am able to be happy? I am able to be content, right? Because things aren't always peaches and cream. Like, we have to how to be okay with the uncertainty, right? Especially like our global situation right now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I always call it like flirting with the discomfort. And so many of my clients, like, they might be really successful in business or in leadership, and they're like, they begin working with me. I'm like, by the way, I'm really unconventional in approach. Like, are you sure you're all right with that? If they want to create more success. And I'm like, well, if you want to create more success, you're going to have to go within. You can't avoid it, especially with the new earth that we're creating. We're all being guided, regardless of how much success, I say that with quotation, like, we've created in the past. The future that we are all part of co-creating requires us to build such a solid foundation within ourselves. And one of the biggest things that I hear most of my clients say, and I'm laughing because I celebrate this, is they go, I'm so uncomfortable. This is really hard. I'm like, yeah, it is. This is why humans have in the past not done it, or they've avoided it. And when you learn to flirt with the discomfort of sitting in your shadow, or sitting in, shame, and witnessing parts of yourself that you've done or experienced that you're not happy with, or that you're not, proud of, those moments that we carry, I truly believe that, like, shame and guilt are our biggest detrimental energies and frequencies that we carry as humans. And when we can forgive ourselves, and when we learn to find gratitude in every single moment or situation that we've ever experienced, whether it's from us doing things to others or for others doing things to us, when we learn truly how to forgive and how to release that from our being, and find gratitude in it. And it doesn't matter what order, whether it's gratitude and then forgiveness, or forgiveness then gratitude. I've not found like anyone is better than the other, but both of them are equally as important. That's how we shift it. That's how we truly like get to the root of it. And this is like daily work for me. It's like, you can never do this too much. And until the human race is fully, like, completely evolved, I believe this is an ongoing journey. And so it's not like waiting until I'm fully happy, or waiting until that's happiness is a choice, but not waiting until I'm at a certain point to go, okay, cool, my life is complete. It's finding the completion and the wholeness wherever we're at, regardless of what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And I think that there's deep medicine in being able to have that space of forgiveness for yourself and the world, and it completely alchemizes your own success. And so really getting into, success and whatever that looks like for you, of like stepping into your purpose, you totally do have to come to a place of surrender of the things like jealousy, hatred, fear, all these different things that create blockages and illusions of what you're really capable of. And I found for me, meditation has been really the biggest tool where I've seen dramatic shift in my perspectives. And so I'm really curious to know on, I know you shared about, the tantric experience you guided your folks through today, and just kind of like how that works for you as like a mentor and a coach and somebody that really helps people push their lives forward into a purposeful way, but really having spirituality be that anchoring point for them to like know how they can strengthen themselves and overcome these natural human instincts to have, jealousy or all these things that we've learned through our society. Not, I don't know, how deep they go, but yeah, just kind of like about your experience and how you find that meditation works for these folks, and how you have found a sweet spot to guide it with self-purpose as well.
Such a powerful question, and I love this conversation so much. I'm like, how long do we have?
I know, right?
And so keeping it I guess as practical as possible, is the remembrance that our external world, and I'm sure everyone listening is like at a point where they realize this, that our external world and whatever we're seeing happening around us is a reflection of what's really going on within us. When we look at our relationships, when we look at the place that we live, when we look at the food that we eat, when we look at how we move our bodies, all of these things external to us are really the guiding like reflection of, okay, what's actually going on within us, okay? And so when we realize, well, it's like, well, okay, I'm not happy with that, I'm not happy with that, I'm not happy with that, whether it's our money, whether it's our relationships, whether it is the place that we live or the people that we, whatever it is. And we go, well, okay, I can either sit in this and accept it for what it is, or I can change it. Like I can literally change it. And when we remember that we are creators, when we remember that it is our belief system, and whatever belief we choose to believe, whether it is subconscious, whether it is energetic, whether it is spiritual or mental, we can change it. And I'm going to share with everyone a technique that you can do to really begin to shift your inner belief system. And this is why, for me personally, like so my degree is in psychology, like science and psychology, and I've always had a fascination with, my favorite quote is like a child, like a young child, and I do speeches on it at school in the school speech competitions, would be like, whether you think you can or whether you think you cannot, you're probably right. And that was by Henry Ford. And that really began this, like, the snowball effect of my fascination with, well, if you think you can, and you're right, and if you think you can't, then you're right, then your mind is so powerful. Now, we're all in a place, and everyone listening to this, this conversation is probably super hyper aware that your mind and your mindset is very important.
Mm-hmm.
What I work with is far beyond the mindset. It's almost like people that I speak with have already done a lot of mindset work, but they're like, but I'm still not seeing results. Why aren't I seeing results? I've got an amazing mindset. I'm looking at things in a really positive manner. I'm super grateful. I'm looking at things, and I know that I'm going to create an amazing life and amazing success. Why am I not seeing the physical manifestation of that yet? Mm-hmm. And so we go deeper. We go, well, what are you believing in your body? What are you believing in your energy field? What does your inner child believe? Right? And so even though we might have a really fantastic mindset about everything, if there is a belief in our gut, for example, of like money is a massive one, right? As especially working in business and as entrepreneurs, money is huge. And so you might go, okay, what do I believe about money? All these wonderful things. But why aren't I making any? What's going on? And so we go, okay, well, where did your money story begin? And we begin to, whether it's through like a soul regression or an inner child healing, or a body, like a physical body releasing, like through tantra or yoga or anything like that, to really tap into the information that's stored in the body. Then we go, what's actually going on? And we've got to remember that every single situation that we have ever encountered in our life and past lives is stored in our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, and our energetic body. And so this holistic awareness of all the places where our belief system comes from, by having that knowledge and that awareness, then we can look at each of those and go, well, okay, well, let's look at what's going on in your physical body. Oh, okay, your gut area or your stomach area or your solar plexus is clenching up when you're looking at money, but your mindset is super aligned. All right, what's going on there? Oh, when you were 3 years old, you watched your parents have an argument about money. Okay, let's shift that and align it into what you and your higher self believe. And so that's just like one tiny example of, a belief that many of us in society hold. And when we can really tap into the frequency of belief, not just the thought pattern, but the actual frequency and the vibration of the full body and holistic belief system, then we're able to begin to see very incremental shifts within our way of showing up. Like, it's almost like nothing changes really, but our entire belief system and energetic system and vibration and frequency is changing. And from this aspect, from this point, this is how we begin to really see like quantum shifts in our external or in our physical world around us. That's, again, like, there's so much in here, and it's yeah. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, totally. And it brings me back to that teaching that like the inner is the outer, and you can't do one without the other. You can't just say, I believe in my abundance, I'm ready for my abundance, but then your body is like not welcoming it in, or your emotions aren't welcoming it in. We have to, it takes more than the mindset. And I really love your approach to that, to where it's not just like what you've wired your brain to memorize and attach to, but it's also how you're feeling, what's stored in your memories, what's stored in your nervous system, around that. Because really, once you do that work, you find that, okay, that is where I really attract it, through how my body reacts, and that comes into like the sensuality of it and the tantra of it, and like really, opening your whole energy up to your purpose and being ready to fulfill your purpose. Because, you can do the mindset, you can do all that you want to try to do, but if you're not taking that deep step, whatever that looks like for you, because it looks like different for all of us, to, really step into your purpose and say, I'm ready to surrender. I'm ready to look a little bit deeper. And maybe that's inner child. Maybe that's some kind of other type of shadow work that you have to do in order to really invite that knowingness in. Because I'm a firm believer that when you do the work to find your soul purpose, you're always provided. You're always going to be provided for. So like once you do the work to find it, and you're actively doing that work, you're taken care of, in one way or another. So I think that connects to what you're saying about that multidimensionality of some of these belief systems, is that it hasn't gone all the way through for some people, or we have to go all the way through. And we're not alone in doing it, right? We have angels, we have extra, higher dimensional beings, ascended masters to help us get guidance on where some of this is lodged, because it's different for everybody, depending on your aura, your situation, all that kind of stuff.
There is so much in that. And I think one of the biggest things to remember, and right now, like I was literally on a call this morning, like I shared with you before we hopped on here, and really speaking with a lot, like with one of my shamanic teachers, and it was like this beautiful reminder that in life, like when we're born, there's always our highest alignment that we're able, and we're always being guided to follow that. And we find that through our passions, through our desires, through our, what we love and what lights us up. Like the happier that we are, the more in love with life that we are, the more we radiate that. And that's really where we begin to tap into our purpose. But it was this reminder with everything that's happening on the planet right now, it's almost like this macro and mass unfolding of what happens on a personal level of when we're not in alignment. The universe is going to do everything it can to make sure that you get into alignment. And right now we're seeing that on literally a global scale. And we're being guided to really go, well, what is my purpose? What do I, want? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want to do to evolve and to really experience the full human experience and give back to the collective and help humanity and help the planet and help the universe truly evolve? And the guidance that we all receive is phenomenal when we surrender to it. Like you said, like we've got to surrender and we've got to ask. Like Spirit's not going to help us. Well, they will help us and guide us, but it's almost like if you're watching someone struggling, but they're adamant to do it themselves, you're like kind of on the outside, like wanting to guide them and be like, okay, like I would not recommend doing that. I'd recommend doing that instead, but your choice. Yeah. And then they come around and they go, can you help me? And you're like, yes, I can help. It's like that's what Spirit does. So it's really important to not necessarily cultivate that relationship. Like you don't even need to know who your guides are. You can just say, universe, help. And that's how my journey began. It was like, literally, help. Mm-hmm. And from that place, you are always going to be supported. You're always going to be guided. And you're always going to be looked after. Like we've got to remember that we live in an abundant planet. Like we are always going to be looked after when we allow ourselves to be looked after. That's the thing that's really important to remember.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Especially when, you nurture yourself, there's a level of honor, right? Coming to a space where you honor your life, your happiness, your radiance to a level where you're devoted to it, and even, and like all the other stuff, all the external reality things, can go away for a second, and you just put yourself and your happiness and your own radiance first. Mm-hmm. A lot of magic happens there too, Mm-hmm. And I know for my own personal journey with, that's how I found myself and my purpose was through coming into a space where all I just cared about was what felt good for me, what messages were coming through, my connection to life, my connection to nature. And through that's how I found my purpose. And I think something that can happen for a lot of people is that they want to find their purpose. They want to like live it. They don't know what, they're tired of living this life that doesn't feel like it has meaning. And so for your work and really being somebody that maybe sometimes guides people through that or just helps people take that a deeper step into their journey and their purpose, how have you found that the type of work of shamanic healing and galactic healing, other dimensional healing, can really invite somebody to find their purpose?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's such a powerful question, and literally I run an entire program around exactly that, like, but also monetizing it, because I feel like the way of the collective and the way that we're going to heal the planet is when we're all living in alignment with our purpose, when we're all living in alignment with who we came here to be, and how to create resources doing that so we can do it full time. And it's not like a side thing where we go and help, one or two people in the evenings after our day job. No, this is our full-time work. And the process that I take people through, and I'll talk you through the process, because it's like really simple, but really profound. And that's what the great thing about it is it's not this like some far away thing. It's accessible to every single one of us. Mm-hmm. And the process it's like a 3-part process that I was like, almost like reverse engineering what I went through and what I've seen others go through and like people that I've worked with and gone, okay, well, let's create a system for this. And while it's very much like our souls are ever expanding, there is no like system for our souls. When we go through this process, it works. Like most of the time I've seen it work like incredibly in everyone's life, regardless of what their age is or what they've experienced or where in the world they are. And the first part of the process is really getting super deep on everything that's not in alignment. This is the hardest part of the process, and this is why most of the world up until this moment have not done this, because we've got to release all the stagnant energy that's blocking our capacity to be receiving the higher guidance. Because our higher guidance, if we think of it as like a really high frequency, we have to elevate ourselves. They're not going to come down. So we need to release the density that we're carrying, whether and it's through inner child healing, it's through looking at every part of our energy field, through all different lenses, shamanic practices and galactic, working with galactic guides and beings as well. But also working with the wisdom of yourself, really learning how to work with your inner wisdom to go through and just release. The second part of it is learning how to find alignment, and that's really working with discovering your soul blueprint, working with the Akashic records to really understand I call it like your umbrella mission. So how I see it and how I've been shown it is we all have this umbrella mission in the world, and from there, we have different mini purposes as we evolve through our human experience. So it's not like, cool, I found my life purpose, that's me forever. Like, because we're ever growing and ever expanding, we're always going to be shifting how we're showing up. But our umbrella mission as a soul is always remaining the same. So the techniques to find that are really working with your highest alignment, working with the planet, working with like learning how to operate and work with your own guides and your own guidance system so that you're able to go, cool, what's the next part of my journey? All right, what's over here next? Okay, who am I as a soul? What have I experienced in the past? Yeah, all of these things, what's my highest alignment for the future? Working with the quantum field, like all of these things that are available to us within us and super accessible. And then the next part is like, literally, okay, well, let's what I call physicalize it. I don't even know if that's a word, but it is now.
I do that too. It's our inner creators.
Exactly, right? Like, who made language anyway? Words are just made up things of vibration. So, yeah. So it's like gathering all of that intangible information that is like super helpful to be aware of, but it's only really super beneficial to yourself and to humanity and the collective and the planet when you're able to put it into action and implement it. And so by learning how to physicalize it and deliver your soul's work, whatever that looks like, living your soul's purpose full time, and it doesn't matter what you do. Not everyone is born to be entrepreneurs. Some people are born to work as a part of something, and that's how they're living their soul purpose. There's no right or wrong way. It's really tapping into your most aligned way of how do you want to be serving, because it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's who you're being. That's the most important part. So there's a little 3-part process that you can, and just hopefully there's some tools that you can just go explore and look into some more.
Yeah, and I like what you just said there, and it really just all does come down to your belief system, and whatever your belief system is, especially with worth, and knowing that like you are worthy to come into a place to live out your soul's purpose and manifest whatever you're manifesting, and knowing that what your worth is and choosing to stick by it. And I think that something for me as I've been growing through my own life, like as an entrepreneur and as somebody who also like works for other people and companies, just really staying strong in my worth and trusting that, and learning how to cultivate my voice and cultivate my my strength and my inner knowing to stand by my worth. And I know for a fact that the work I've done spiritually with myself and with my community is what's prepared me to be in a situation where no matter what I'm facing, I know my worth. And that comes down to like, knowing how to price things, or, if somebody's trying to like do you wrong, like making sure that you're standing in your worth. And for you, I'm curious to know like what your journey around that has looked like, and how you have, come to a place where you've been able to now guide other people through that experience, and cultivating your worth and anchoring it in your life, and whatever that looks like.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for speaking into that, because I think I know it. It's so important that, especially as women and men who have been around a lot of women, is to really remember that worth, because societally, regardless of what we've experienced individually, there is this, and this is literally on the weekend, I've tapped into new layers of this within myself, and it's very much something that I'm now digging deeper into. Fun fact, in order to grow, you can only grow as deep as you dig. So it's like, if you want to grow, go within. Yeah, my guides taught me that. I was like, thank you, that makes sense. Is this collective belief system around do as you're told, women earning less than men. If we look at the corporate world, there's all of these like very subtle beliefs that have been placed upon us as women that, to be honest, until the weekend I knew of it, but I was doing some deep journeying work in ceremony and really tapped into new layers that I've been holding on to, especially around like my womb space, that I'd never found before. And so knowing your worth, and again, this is an ever expanding journey for me. Like, I've always been a people pleaser. Like, I've always been, and I always thought it was for attention. Like, I always thought it was like, yeah, cool. Like, look at me. Like, that was very much that was a defense mechanism when I was growing up, and part of the shadow work that I've been doing over the last, especially the last 5 years. And then I realized it wasn't for attention, and this is through shamanic journeying that I've tapped into this. And this is what a lot of women who have experienced any form of abuse or like sexual harassment or advances or rape or anything like that. Often we go into this energy of people pleasing for, like, here, I'll give you things, I'll give you anything to keep myself safe so that I don't accidentally receive something unwanted. And so for me, that's really, and I know that's not even related to business, but it is. When we're in our soul's purpose, it's all related, it's all interlinked. And so by really looking at, I was always a high achiever. I'd climb, I'd go into in my corporate career, I would literally go into an office or go into a new role, and just like, all of a sudden I'd find myself as like the team leader or the manager, or, like really leading it. And I'm like, well, why is this? Like, number one, just being a natural born leader, that's obviously going to come naturally. But the second thing that I was really digging deep into, and this is around worth, is I would always do exactly as I was told. I wouldn't answer back. I wouldn't question the authority. I wouldn't say my opinion. I would just agree with whatever I heard. I had no level of discernment unless it came through my own heart. And I was like, I don't want to work there anymore. Okay, I'm going to go do this. So it's like the journey to find worth and self-worth has really been learning how to create inner discernment. And so really tapping into, well, do I agree with that? What do I actually believe about that? What do I feel about that? I don't want to do that. Okay, that's not an alignment for me. That's not serving me. And so it's really creating new levels of energetic boundaries and releasing all that like martyrdom energy that is so paramount, is especially for women, but also men as well. And really learning, like you're talking about, like speaking your truth and really saying, like, hey, whatever's on your mind or whatever's on your heart, whatever you're wanting to speak into. And to be honest, over the process of really learning who I was, I looked at a lot of my relationships and I started to speak my truth more. I stopped spending time with people who I felt deflated after spending time with. And I, a lot of relationships fell away. A lot of people that I had surrounded myself with and thought that were going to be lifelong friends, I've spoken my truth, or I've stood in my power, and I've said, no, I can't spend time with you because I'm building my business, or, I can't do that because I'm doing this. And I've even given reason, even though we don't need to give reason. And so observing that falling away and finding gratitude in the knowing that everything that's not serving us is going to fall away anyway. And when that happens, you go through the grieving process, and every low vibrational emotion that we feel is an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and more to learn about who we are. And so it's really through the process of discernment, listening to my heart, listening to my inner guidance, and really knowing that there is nothing external that determines my worth apart from the fact that I'm here on this planet right now. And because of that, I'm worthy. And that's the same as everyone. You are here on this planet right now. And because of that, you're worthy. You don't need to do anything for anyone. You don't need to, all of this, these things that we have picked up through our lives, when we realize where they've come from and that they're not serving us, and we choose instead to give from a place of abundance, to give because we want to give because it feels joyful and pleasurable. That's how we really tap into our own deep sense of worthiness, and and realize that the beautiful gift that it is to be human, and especially to have done this work. And I think those of us that are doing, have done a lot of the shadow work and have committed our lives to bettering ourselves, and able to hold space for others, and able to deliver so much to the planet of so much value, then you see the shifts in other people just because you are you. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh my gosh, there is so much value in this, and everyone has something to offer. Everyone, just from being their best self, is incredibly worthy. And when we remember that, and we not only know it, but we feel it, and this is a full body belief feeling that we're dealing with here. This is not a mind thing. This is a feeling. That's truly how we tap into new levels of, I don't even want to call it success. It's it's just a deeper level of a magnificent life, really, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. And, there's a lot of magic, I feel like, in believing in yourself and building a new belief system that honors you, and putting yourself in a place where you're able to discern what's for you and what's not for you, and how that really is the alignment of your self-worth, is knowing when something is for you and not for you, whether it looks good or it looks bad, or, really having that discernment with your body. And what that was really making me think of is how I feel like a big thing that's happened globally, for men, women, especially women, is we become desensitized within our emotions, our bodies, our minds, to really know when when something's out of alignment, whether that be the way somebody's talking to us, or the way that we're going about our work, or our inner dialogue, or, all these different layers. Is the way that things have been going in this world, or in the past, what we're trying to change is, the status quo is just, like you said, do what you're told, just keep going, don't speak up, don't speak against, just keep going. And that has created a level of desensitization. We're not sensitive on a huge collective scale to where we can tap in and notice, does this feel right for me? Does this not feel right for me? How should I go about the situation? How can I speak for myself? How can I, all these things. And so I know I've heard you a few times talking about, feeling these things in your body, and finding things in your womb, and different energetic barriers or blocks revealing themselves to you. And I'm very curious to know, how you have witnessed trying to like weave these words that are coming through my brain, how you've witnessed the work of doing energetic healing with the body to bring sensitivity back into our awareness, and whether that's through our physical body or womb work or breath work or, any of these kinds of things. What have you found through your work of like sensitizing and bringing us back into a space where we can actually feel, where we can sense and be aware?
So powerful. And I'm so glad that you brought that up as well, because like many of us, the way that I actually began to connect with my body, and I was like so disconnected from my body, and when I was working on this, and I realized, like, as I was beginning to go deeper into my own journey of, my own blocks and that sort of thing, again, like I'd started with my mindset, and then it had turned into like, really, I sort of discovered it by accident, because I started going to the gym. I was like, what can I do instead of drinking all the time? I was like, right, I'll go to the gym. And so I started working out more. And I realized, like, because I was so clear-headed, I was like, beginning to notice things in my body. And so it was a very organic process, and that was like the physical side of it. But what I began to tap into was in a child healing, really, like through, and that in itself can be energetic work as well. If you are a healer, or if you are an energy healer, when you're doing, even just jump on YouTube and do an inner child healing, it can be really profound to begin working with your own energy in that. And I began to notice and observe times and times and times and times throughout my life. And the same goes for so many people of, stop being so sensitive, be quiet, the adults are talking, right? If we're thinking of a child, don't say that you're wrong, or what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. All these things that we believe in our belief system teach us to disconnect with our bodies. So I think it's really important to realize that it's a very, very common thing, and to know where it's come from, then we're able to heal it a lot easier. And through energy work, whether it is literally like breath work, yoga, just exercise in general, can really help us connect back to our body. And then, when we begin to have that relationship with our body again, through really looking at what we're nourishing our body with, what we're energetically consuming, not just with food, but with programs that we watch, with things that we listen to, with conversations that we listen to, and how we move our body. But then going deeper again and really tapping into these new layers, like breath work is incredibly profound when you're able to really work with your own breath. Working with yoga, whether it's like yin yoga or, more of like a yang style, like vinyasa or something, it doesn't matter. The more that you can get into your body, dance. Like most of us as children dance, we create, we play in the garden, like when we can connect back to the root of who we are. And a lot of this work can be very primal when we're reconnecting with our body, whether we're like feeling energy coming up within us, and if we're feeling angry, rather than projecting that anger out or frustration or whatever it is, come into your body. And when we feel it and we allow ourselves to, yell or scream or whatever we need to do, put on some music and stomp your feet around. Like, there are so many things that we're able to do. And for me, like, when I started doing this, like as a, I guess, profession, like literally going, okay, well, this is, everyone needs this, like especially leaders and especially people really helping to co-create the new earth and work in business and hold space. Like, I work with a lot of coaches and mentors. And the more that we can connect with our bodies, the more tapped in we are to more of our wisdom. And when we're connected to more of our wisdom, we're connected to the abundance, and like we're talking about, the infinite information available and accessible to us, literally, like using our entire being, like our entire, physical, energetic, like we said before, all the beings that we are as holistic beings. So does that answer the question?
Totally. Yeah. And and allowing ourselves to come into a space of like sovereignty. And I think that's something that a lot of us are currently learning and questioning, and really having a lot of room in our life to question, where am I sovereign? Where am I uh, in control of myself and my reality? Where am I in a place where I can, really be the leader of my life? And I think that allowing yourself to become sensitive, to become comfortable with the uncomfortable, to be in tune with, the greater scope of your life, is really the way to become the conscious leader of your own life and of, the lives of others. And I think it's so important that we do this work on a personal level, so that on a planetary level, we can really bring that shift of, conscious business, conscious, even stuff like conscious capitalism, or things where we can support life and support each other on a planet in a way that's compassionate and mindful of other people. Because when we become sensitive to our own reality and our own life and our own being and what, what we are, we become much more aware of what others might be feeling too. And there's that give and exchange. We have to, once we have that awareness of like, okay, maybe they're going through this too, or having the empathy to understand other people or be aware of other people, that's how we consciously create a better world. But when we're not sensitized, we can't even feel ourselves, let alone our brothers and sisters, So I feel like this work that you're doing around that whole belief system is so profound. And it really does begin with the belief systems, and uprooting what doesn't align anymore. And you have to dig deep. It's like the surface layer stuff, those are just like, yeah, like you can kind of pick those out, but it's like you said, you can only go as up as you go as deep. So you really got to go deep to get the good stuff and really find what's calling. So I guess the last question, as we begin to like round down, is what are some ways that you would recommend our listeners to dig deeper, to get past like the surface layer of stepping into your life? How can we dig deeper? What advice do you have around that?
The biggest thing that I would do, and everyone is welcome to do it now if you like, maybe not if you're driving. I don't think you'll be driving at the moment, but and what I invite you to do is really come into your heart to begin with, and just really begin to call forward your higher self. And just invite your higher self or your divine guidance to be with you. And just asking yourself, from this place of complete surrender, of complete love, and knowing that everything that's in alignment for you is ready for you. No judgment, no need to know how when you ask this question and receive this answer. Just let it be what it is, trusting. And the question that you're going to ask is, what do I want? What do I desire to create? Who do I desire to become? What impact do I want to make in the world? And allowing yourself to feel into and see, or simply just know that the answers coming through to you are for you. Trust is a huge part of this process. Letting go of any how or that's not true or anything like that our mind can feed us. And from this place, and again, if nothing's coming through right now, it might over the coming hours or days or even weeks. From this place, once you know what it is that you're wanting and desiring, just go deeper and now ask your stomach or your mind, just really allowing yourself to say, what do I believe about this? What's blocking me or stopping me from creating this? What am I holding on to that does not agree with these desires? And from this place, allowing whatever it is to come up, whether it's doubts, whether it's I don't know how, whether it's that's not for me, whatever it is, go deeper and deeper and deeper and keep asking, why not? Why not? What do I truly believe? What do I truly believe? Where has this come from? Who can I forgive? What am I ready to let go of? What am I ready to release? And what do I now choose to believe instead? What do I choose to hold on to instead? And how can I become grateful knowing that this is already done? And feel into that. And knowing that if you can see it, if you can feel it, it is so ready for you. Trusting that it is done, and that you're aligning to it, and so it is.
That was so beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm sure we're getting many thank yous in there.
Yeah, the deeper part, the seeing it and the being able to feel it, and then all those afterthoughts that come through of like, that's not for me, or that's not right, or those doubts, that's the deep work that we need to be doing to really align and come into alignment with knowing that those desires are so ready for you to create and embody.
Yeah, it's your inherent right, and it just gets to finding that. And sometimes we think we want something, but really that's not what we want. It might be like an aspect of what we want, but usually what we want is so much deeper, and we really have to dive in to get there. So thank you for guiding us through that, and taking time to provide an invocation, of really how you can dig deeper and what that looks like in your own dialogue, So thank you so much for that. And I guess that brings me to just lastly ask if there's any other words of wisdom or just blessings you would like to share with our listeners, if there's anything in there.
Remembering that you have been born into this planet at this specific time. You've chosen to be here and you've volunteered to be here at this time, and you have such a beautiful, beautiful purpose and a beautiful life available to you. And it is so much more magnificent than your mind can even comprehend. When you have courage and trust and learn how to trust even more and learn how to have faith even more in the knowing that what you desire is so there for you, that is how you will begin to really step into your deepest abundance, your deepest magnificence, and really create an incredible ripple effect around the planet and around the world. You're so loved and you're so guided and you're so supported. And when you remember that daily, connect to that daily, magnificent things are just like waiting to come to you when you allow it to be so.
Thank you for that. Where can folks find you? How can people find you and continue to connect with your work and your sweet words?
On Instagram is Libby Light Leader is the easiest way, and on my website or send me an email, libbywallace.com.
Perfect. And I can add those in the show notes too, so people can easily find that there.
Beautiful. And just one last thing, that I'm wanting to say as well is thank you so much for listening to this conversation, for investing the time in yourself, and knowing that even just listening to things and really allowing yourself to do this work is profound in itself. So really honouring and acknowledging every single person who has, listened to the whole episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Aw, that's so sweet. Yes, we have so much deep gratitude for that. And, it really is like a testimony to, like, to sit through and listen to a full conversation and really take this in, that it's a huge testimony to your devotion to building a belief system and a reality that cultivates joy and peace in medicine of many forms.
Yeah, so much.
All the dimensions. It's all there.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you for, for joining us on the podcast. And, we look forward to having all of our listeners connect with you. And thank you so much for the medicine you delivered. And, thank you infinitely.
Namaste.
Namaste. Take it easy. Enjoy. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye, love.